in-depth coverage of this very sad day, but it is a very important day because we are honoring the late Justice Ginsburg in the best way possible as a country as a whole. And actually, Samantha-Jo, she is the first Jewish person to be honored this way. The way the nation was honored her last week is a departure from Jewish tradition.
Yeah, Eric, it definitely is. In the Jewish tradition, usually when a death occurs, burial needs to happen as soon as possible, sometimes within 24 hours. Obviously there are some adjustments that can be made in the time of the Sabbath, if there is a holiday. And the Ginsburg family here, they have decided, to delay that burial to allow the nation to honor her. And, as you can see here, it looks like they are preparing to unload her casket, and there is an honor guard that is standing by, a military honor guard. We actually saw them practicing yesterday. You will see in just a few moments the precision that they have as they will carry that casket up at the Capitol steps. But as you said, this is a very rare and unique honor, especially as somebody, the justice was a Jewish person. Yeah. Usually, these kinds of things don't happen. Because they have to happen so quickly.
Well, and Samantha-Jo, history there, but also she is going to be the first woman to lie in state at the U.S. Capitol, but the second one who will be honored inside the Capitol. So what's the difference there?
Right. So when you are lying in state, that is an honor that is typically reserved for those who have served in the U.S. government. And usually that ceremony is accompanied by a military honor guard. But when you are lying in honor, that can be for private citizens, those who have made a big impact on the nation. So like we saw before, we've seen, Rosa Parks, the civil rights icon. Yeah. She was honored in this way.
What is the mood there as far as the number of people, Samantha-Jo? Because obviously in the time of the pandemic, we're not able to see as many people as you normally would see being able to honor, such an important life lost. I mean, we saw that yesterday when we saw the special ceremony inside the Supreme Court. People wearing masks, but very few people, and so we're not seeing as many people as we normally would probably out there right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, we are just standing in a grass field with a bunch of other media. I can tell you that there are a lot less people out here than we've seen for previous other ceremonies. For example, President George H.W. Bush, you would have saw people lining the streets just waiting to get a glimpse of the casket. We're not really seeing crowds like this, and I would assume that is because of the pandemic. Yeah. Also, the previous 2 days where, she lied and reposed. So, the public really did have an ample chance to say their goodbyes.
Sure. And during the funeral for, civil rights icon John Lewis, during his funeral, so many people wanted to be there as well, but they too had to socially distance. So it's being able to honor very, very important people the way they frankly deserve to be, but it's doing it the best way you can in a in a time of pandemic. And of course, if you're looking right now, the hearse is there. The casket will be coming out, and then there you see the steps to the Capitol. And again, this is going to be a very important thing to see, because this is something that's going to be official, and it is going to be something that is very special. And as we had mentioned, a lot more people probably want to be there to see this. It's probably going to be limited to, Justice Ginsburg immediate family and some of her close coworkers, if you will. Some of her law clerks we know were there earlier this week when her casket was brought up inside the Supreme Court. They were there. These people who learned from her, now had the tough job of standing there and watching her casket go right by them. The same person who they learned from had to watch that, and I just can't even imagine how heartbreaking that was. And Samantha-Jo, lots of waiting, because this is a very, very difficult time, very hard time for a lot of people.
Yeah, and as you mentioned with the law clerks, when we saw them standing on the steps of the U.S. Supreme Court, part of what they were doing there really resembles Jewish tradition. When somebody in the Jewish tradition dies, there are typically, rabbis and specific people that are standing with the body until burial. And so what we saw there with the clerks, they were standing watch. They had 20-minute shifts where they were going in and out, and that is really just a remarkable thing to see. I have spoken to some of those clerks. They said it was an honor of a lifetime to be able to be there. And, now many of them are here watching and waiting. And obviously, this is a process that takes a little bit of time. And, you will see in just a few moments the precision that it takes. The military honor guard will be unloading that casket, bringing it up the steps. It's, a very unique moment. And it's something that they've really practiced for.
Well, and back to the law clerks as well, they are going to, as their legal career continues to evolve, they're going to be able to have on their resume, law clerk for the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That's going to be on their resume. So what an honor it was to obviously be able to work with her. And she has had such an extensive career in law. And, like I said, she was confirmed during the President Clinton administration. And I believe it was within just 42 days was the length of the confirmation. So, in recent times, we're talking obviously with Brett Kavanaugh, whose confirmation took about 88 days. Neil Gorsuch, 65. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was confirmed in 42 days. And I know you had a chance to talk to some of the Florida lawmakers, namely Representative Charlie Crist. And what did Samantha-Jo, what did he tell you? Obviously, he's undoubtedly heartbroken.
Yeah, no, the congressman is, obviously very saddened by the passing of Justice Ginsburg. I will tell you that the Florida delegation is fairly split on whether it is too soon or if it is time to replace the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Obviously what we did see back in the 90s is she was confirmed by an overwhelmingly large majority of senators. And really, as you said there, Eric, this is not going to be the case for the next justice. Things are, times are very tense at this very moment. We are expecting tomorrow President Trump will announce his pick, and we're going to hear from Senate Judiciary Chairman Lindsey Graham. He is set to announce that timeline, and they're really looking to get this through ahead of the election. And, as we've discussed all week, they do have the votes, and they will be able to do that. But obviously, nothing is over until it's over. We're going to have to watch and see how this plays out. But yeah, I think a lot of people are waiting and watching to see how that all happens, but it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be a pretty process, I will tell you that.
Well, we know that we've been hearing from a number of sources that her last wish was to be replaced after the November election. I don't know if necessarily in this situation replaced is the right word, because with her extensive background on the Supreme Court, 1993, you can't replace somebody like her. Many legal analysts, political analysts, it doesn't matter who, anybody in the general public will say that she can't be replaced. So taking over for her obviously is going to be she's going to have some big shoes to fill for sure. And as you said, Samantha-Jo, will be learning who President Trump's pick will be likely tomorrow evening. And for this ceremony that is about to get underway,